everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit more different than what I usually talk about. Today I'm going to be talking about advice to new nurses and people who have just graduated from nursing school, who have passed the NCLEX, looking for a nursing job, or you're about to go to a job interview, or you're about to start a new nursing job, what you should know before you actually go to your nursing jobs. Please be aware that I'm not claiming to know everything. Take this advice at your own risk. I'm just telling you guys what I wish I would have known before I actually went on the job. Because I am a licensed practical nurse and I've been working for like 2.5 years. On and off. I don't really work on a regular basis. I'm on call, so I definitely do consider myself a brand new nurse still, and I know that I still have a lot to learn, and I'm not saying that I know everything. I learn things every day. I learn things from my CNAs. I learn things from my housekeepers. I learn things from everybody. My brain is always open to learn new things. So, you know, if you have some tips of your own, if you're you know, more of a mature nurse than me and you have some tips on your own that you would like to say, or something I said and you're like, I kind of question that, you know, I don't take it as an offense. I don't take it in offense. You can leave your comments down below, but like I said, take this advice at your own risk. This is the things that I wish I would have known. By the way, these advices that I'm giving you is based on my experience of my own nursing experience. Your experience may be totally different, but this is based on my experience and you might learn something new. I work in a rehab facility and there's 4 units. There's a vent unit, there's an HIV/AIDS unit, there is a geriatric unit, and there's also a rehab unit. This is to be, don't be scared. And the main thing is just like when you're working out, it's not in your body, it's in your mind. You might come to the facility and you might see this breakdown schedule and you might see that you're on a floor and you have no idea about that floor, but somebody might walk by you. It might be a CNA, it might be another nurse or whatever, and that nurse might be like, ooh, you're on the, let's say, 16th floor. Ooh, the 16th floor is a really bad floor, and you might go into that floor like thinking it's a bad floor and coming with that negativity. Okay, yes, that floor may be challenging. You may learn something new, but don't let what others say impact you. Some people really bring what they're going through in their personal life to work, and they try to put it on other people and stress you out, and you already have enough stress already because you have, well, in my case, you have 40 people in your hands. Okay, so for me, it's divided into 3 shifts, 7 to 3. I have 20 residents. 3 to 11, I have 40 residents. 11 to 7, I also have 40 residents. And 3 to 11 to 7, like, I'm the only nurse with 40 residents. And there's one nurse in the middle and another nurse on the other side who also has 40 residents. At night, it's just me, 40 residents. And I'm the only nurse, and the other side is 40 residents, and she's the only nurse, and there's just one supervisor for the whole floor. So 7 to 3, 3 to 11 is a little bit not easier, but there's a little more people. Use the night shift when you're just starting. I'm not necessarily saying that the night shift is the easiest, but I'm saying like it's definitely less hustle bustle. But most likely you'll probably be by yourself. But at least you'll have a supervisor there. The night shift is a little bit more calm than the 7 to 3 shift, definitely, and the 3 to 11 shift, because, you know, the residents are sleeping, it's all calm, you know, you have paperwork to do or computer work, depending on how updated your facility is, but it's definitely more calm, and it gives you a chance to, you know, find out the residents' names, so that when you do work 7 to 3 or 3 to 11, you're not so confused. It's still going to be a lot different, but you're not so confused. Like, okay, I know this patient, or I know their names, like I know this, you know, and you don't have a lot of medications in the morning and your night shift anyway, but you'll know which patient is who. You'll get to know everyone. You'll get a feel of the nursing home. You'll be more prepared for that, you know. But if you can't do night shift, because like not everybody's like that, You know, to me, I think it depends on your facility, but to me, I always think 7 to 3 is, you know, the hardest, even though you do have 20 patients. And, you know, even I do think it's the hardest, because some facilities, I worked at another facility where I had about 50 patients all to myself, and there was only one floor, and it was hectic, but I was able to do it because I had experience before. So I really wouldn't recommend the 7 to 3 shift. There's doctors there, there's supervisors there. People watch you all the time, but a 7 to 3 shift, people really do watch you. And not to say that you can't do it, but if you have no experience and, you know, you're nervous and, you know, it's your first day, it might be kind of hectic and you might be really stressed out, especially on your first day. So I would recommend, you know, 3 to 11. So if not 11 to 7, I would recommend 3 to 11. And then, you know, if worst comes to worst, do 7 to 3. But like I said, come in there with a positive mind. Don't mind what people say. Second tip is, don't expect that you will have a full month's training. Now, this does depend on where you live. Like, you could live in Tennessee and maybe they give 6 months training. I don't know. I don't live in Tennessee. It was like about 5. I had only like 5 days of training, and I had to choose this facility because like nobody was hiring new nurses. This was the only place I can get. I actually got it through someone, and nobody was hiring. So I only had like 5 days of training, and 3 of those days was like mostly in the classroom, and 2 of those days was on the floor, and 1 of the days we only shadowed the nurse. So, you know, that's really hard when you're a brand new nurse and you don't really have, you know, adequate training. But, you know, it's really hard as a new nurse when you don't have that much training and you're just starting. But that's why I'm giving you those tips, because believe me or not, some places you don't have that much training. You only have 5 days. If you're fortunate enough to have 2-3 weeks like actually on the floor doing things, then good for you. Like, that's perfect. But some facilities, like, they're not gonna pay to train you all those days. They can't afford it. You know, times are getting, you know, the economy is different and everybody wants to save money. But, you know, some facilities are better. So, you know, your first day of work and NCLEX are 2 different things. They're not at all alike. It's all about being safe, being efficient, being correct to the T sometimes, because some supervisors or managers will really watch you, but being very quick. Or sometimes a resident can become very impatient and rude if you don't give them a certain medication, especially narcotics, at a certain time, because, you know, everybody's different. Some people will curse you out, some people do this, some people do that. You know, it's really a job where you have to come in with the right mindset. If you didn't even graduate yet and you're still in school, I would say if you have a chance to become like a CNA or a housekeeper in the nursing home, or if you do anything or if you could be anything that has to do with the health field, do that, because it will look really good on your nursing resume and it will make you really stand out. And plus, you will have hands-on experience. I think CNAs make really good nurses because they have that one-on-one connection. Nurses too, but like CNAs, they really do have that one-on-one connection, and they understand the patients more. I mean, it's totally 2 different jobs, but you'd be surprised how much CNAs know. They know a lot, and I respect them. And that gives me to another cardinal rule: respect everyone. You will have the saying that nurses eat their young, I find it to be true with some people. Some people are really there to help you. Some people will help you at first and then all of a sudden turn around and be mean. I think especially if you have a young face, or if you are just a young person, a lot of nurses who have been working 20-30 years, or if they're not happy with their job, or if they're not happy with their personal life, and they see you like you're a young girl or a young man or whatever, and you know, when they see a young person, sometimes some people could feel a type of way, okay? sip my tea, and they might see you and they might be like, oh, who this girl thinks she is? She thinks she knows everything. I'm not saying be a carpet, but be very respectful, because you never know when you might need that person's help. And even though they're rude to you, like, try not to, I don't want it to come off as don't let people talk rude to you, but try not to talk back. Like, try to avoid the situation as much as possible. Trust me, I know, because if you're rude to the other person, to the other nurse, that nurse will tell another nurse, and the other nurse will most likely believe that nurse more than you. And that can be really tricky, because the nursing field has, like, in my opinion, there's a lot of gossip around. But you know, at the end of the day, you'll always find people who don't like you for no reason. You'll always find that. But I'm just saying, try to avoid conflict. If you see somebody, like, if you're an empath and you're really good at reading people and you're really good at seeing if somebody doesn't like you, just try to avoid them as much as possible, because you know, especially when you're new and you're a new nurse, like, it's really hard. But yeah, so and also this comes back to the CNAs. Some CNAs have been working there 20 years and they see you and like, oh, you know, you're young enough to be my daughter, whatever. This and that. Like, they might, even though you are the nurse and technically in the chain of command you are, like, there, don't really take it like that. Take it like a teamwork, because believe it or not, CNAs can sometimes make or break your job. They can, I mean, you will learn that through experiences too. They can help you with your job. They could save your license sometimes, and they could hurt your license sometimes. So that's why I'm saying, like, be very respectful in how you speak to people. Be very careful on the words, in the words you choose, because just treat everybody respectfully and professionally. I'm not saying be that person's best friend, but try not to cross the line either. But just be respectful to that person, because a CNA can make or break your career. Don't think that because you're a nurse and you're higher than the chain of command, and that, okay, I'm the boss already and I don't have to respect you. I don't have to, you know, like, treat them with respect. Say thank you when you ask them to do something. Say please. Be nice. You know, even if you are nice, sometimes, you know, people are still rude. You know, in that case, if you really need something, you know, you go to your chain of command after that. But usually, you know, they'll do it. If I were you, I wouldn't put my mouth in it. I wouldn't put my mouth in people's business. If you hear them talking about some inappropriate content, I wouldn't go into it. I wouldn't, for sure, mix professional with personal. I mean, it's up to you, you know, like I said. But I wouldn't mix professionalism with personalism, because I've seen it, and so far it always comes out messy, in my opinion. When you first come on the unit, come early, come 20 to 30 minutes early, and the reason why is you always want to come early and do your rounds. So basically, rounds are when you basically knock on the door and then you open the door and then you see the patients, make sure they're breathing, make sure their G-tube is intact and not totally dislodged, because if the G-tube is not in the patient's abdomen, then the patient has to go out to the hospital and then you have to call a supervisor and all that. But some nurses will actually leave you with a resident that has the G-tube out, and they won't say anything because they just want to go home and they want you to deal with it. So make sure you come early, and then you check every resident's room and you make sure everything is okay, that they're breathing, that they're not dead, so that you could tell the other nurse, excuse me, your patient is X, Y, and Z. Can you handle it? Because it's not on your shift, obviously. I know some other nurses may see it as like being a pest or whatever, but don't care, don't matter with that, don't be mad at that. Like I said, you can't please everyone at the end of the day, but it will help, because you don't want it to be on your butt, because sometimes the supervisors would get, so I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't you check, you know, because it's your job, you know, to check. And while you're doing your rounds, if this is 7 to 3 shift, I would recommend bringing a small blood pressure cuff that you could get in Walgreens or whatever. if they allow that, some nursing homes, they want you to use their exact blood pressure machine because it's calibrated. But the thing is, it's like it's long, and some other people want to use it, and it just takes too long. But if you come early, you can use it. But if you're in a rush, whether you're working in any shift, if you have that small blood pressure cuff, just take, that are on blood pressure medications, and you will know as you work, and you make sure their feeding is running, especially when you work nights. If their feeding is not running and you just go ahead and do your desk work, then the whole night the resident will not have any feeding. Sometimes people turn off the feeding and they forgot to turn it back on. A lot of things happen, and that is an incident. And if another nurse comes by and sees, if another nurse, when other nurse relieves you, and she sees that the feeding is still up and still full, she's supposed to tell the nursing supervisor or the manager that, hey, this resident didn't have feeding all night, and you get in trouble. Some people will be nice and be like, hey, you did X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying anything. Sip my tea. Some nurses are nice and sip my tea. They'll let you know what happened. But that's why just check so you won't have that problem. Also, you check the people who are on tracheostomy to make sure like they're clear and breathing and that they've been suctioned.